you find a common ground. Maybe your girlfriend, like mine, works Friday night, so we're doing the podcast on a Saturday, but we usually like to do it on Friday nights because she's working. Or you kind of find time slots of when certain people are busy and you see them when you can. But there's compromises. If you only have the weekend, you only have 2 days and Friday night. You kind of make one night maybe for your friends, one night for her. Then maybe you do one night both, or you kind of switch it up. You don't really want to be with that person all the time, and I know that's kind of like a problem with me and her, but we get together so well, and she's like my best friend basically. So it's kind of easy to fall into that. But like the problem if you do that too much is it starts to become toxic. If you're always with that person doing this, like I don't like I work for people, and actually her parents are like this too, where like they're a couple, like they're married and they share a business and they work a business together. You're with that person 24/7. You're eating, sleeping with them, then you go to work together. I don't know how people do that. That to me that's mind-boggling. Like to be with somebody for like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's too much.
See, that goes back to what I was saying about the first the fact that, you can't be with, that's something that, in my opinion, I think that's what breaks people apart eventually, is being together with someone for so long.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. It could just be dependent on the people. I don't know, I guess, how they take their relationships. But I feel like most relationships, you kind of have to break it out. You know what I mean? Like
break it up.
Yeah, there has to be times where you two are together. There has to be times where you guys go enjoy yourself with your friends. And there has to be times, where you all hang out and, girlfriend, friends, and, have a good time. I guess it's really just all how you prep for everything. Life's way too short. There's not many hours in the day or days in the week where, you can find job, school, girlfriend, friends. We have too little of time in this world, to kind of separate everything. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's tough, and our friends all have apartments now, and I noticed that ever since everybody got an apartment, nobody wants to come out. Everyone's, yo, come over and do this, and like I get it. Like there's not a lot to do where we are, and if we do something, it always costs money, and we're all broke college kids or broke kids in our 20s, so it's hard to do that. So I find that I'm hanging out with my girlfriend a lot more than my friends, just because, like, we get to do more together, and it's pretty fun and stuff. But I should make more time for my friends. But, it all really depends on you and your girlfriend, but you do want to make time. You should try to make time for everybody. You don't want anybody to feel slighted or anything like that, where somebody's like, wow, he really doesn't want to hang out with me, or he likes this person so much more. Blah blah blah. It's hard. You have to find that balance, and that's really what life. To me, life is really like a yin yang type of thing. If you can get the middle of anything, then you're golden. Don't drink too much, but don't not have any alcohol or whatever. Party a little bit, but not too much. Trying to find that middle ground with everything, to me, it really is the key to life and success.
Yeah, definitely. So let's discuss about I guess me and you, we're both college students.
That's right.
22 and 20. I'm the older college student.
Smart.
My old ass. But anyway, let's talk about, because college students, it's all about living the life. It's all about, like, I remember the first time I entered the Westchester ground, and it was just everybody was outside. Like,
is that when we went to Sean's?
Yeah, I think this was like a Wednesday night, and it was like a Saturday night. It was just partying, drinking
Thursdays
outside.
And everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. So me and you, we're living supposed to be living the college life.
It doesn't feel like it sometimes.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it. But let's talk about now, because it seems like, there's a lot of people who drop out of school. Maybe because of...
For lots of reasons, yeah.
How they really put partying ahead of their schoolwork.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do a little discussion about, like, how important, like, trust me, I love drinking. I'm sure you do too, 3 beers, but
yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about how we combine the partying and schoolwork and actually make it into one. So, you can live a successful college life by, mixing in the partying and stuff.
Yeah, this goes back to what I said, not too much, not too little. You need both, because let's be real, college is a very stressful time. It's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of stress. And nothing helps better than going on the weekend out and just partying and going all out as a college kid. But yeah, like you were saying, you really have to be careful with the partying. My golden rule is don't party on the weekdays. Keep that just for school, working out, going to the gym, getting homework done. Make that 5 days a week, that Monday through Friday, like your top priority. Just get your shit done. And then that way, during the weekend, go out and do whatever the hell you want. Just have fun, get all that stress out. Whether you want to party, just play basketball, hang out with friends, hang out with your girlfriend, go on a Tinder date, whatever you got to do to de-stress, do it. But those 5 days a week, you should be the grindstone, doing whatever you got to do to get it done.
Yeah, you definitely. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely. I mean, it's not easy. Like I said, like I was going back to girlfriends and friends and all that. There's not many days there's not enough days in the week to be able to like I don't
to
know.
Party and to do all your schoolwork and stuff.
It's very difficult, but it's like if you want to be able to live that life, you have to be able to get or.
Well, it comes down to time management and discipline, in my opinion. So you can time manage and say, all right, I'm going to set 5 to 6 o'clock. I'm going to study for, this bio exam. And then from 6 to 7, I'm going to go work out at the gym for an hour and do gym's workout. And then, what's that, 7? So 7 to 8, then I'm going to, go to the dining hall and grab some food or whatever. And, you just have to block out certain times for certain activities. And for someone like me, I friggin' hate doing that. I don't like having a schedule. I like having the freedom of, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want today. I like that. But the routines and the discipline of following a routine helps so much with college, and people really don't realize how big it is till sometimes it's too late.
Yeah, see, me on the other hand, I don't actually have a set schedule, which honestly, I mean, I've actually found it's actually helped me more. I don't know. It sounds a little confusing just because of the fact everyone says time management's like this big thing, but I feel like the fact that I go day by day, I mean sometimes there's kind of issues with how my day goes, especially when you have an 83-year-old grandma who wants you to go food shopping for her every day,
every hour. Yeah,
but it's definitely, I mean, but I go day by day with how I handle things. Like, I don't have set times for any of this. I mean, obviously, we have the gym normally around 6 o'clock. But, I mean, I, like my schoolwork, whether I want to go party or something. Yeah, it's just, I let things flow as it is. Like, there's never a set schedule for me. Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to come Friday night. We came Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, some of it also comes down to just the person. If you're going to get it done, then you get it done. But some people, it's not that easy. I mean, a lot of people think that they can just be like, oh, yeah, I'll have it all under control. Then it all kind of goes off the rail. They're like, shit, I should have made a schedule or whatever. That's always been me. Because I found that, like, I got a planner, right? Not that long ago. Some girl was like, dude, why don't you just, like, going through all your syllabuses through college, write down when all the projects and homework are done. And that way you can just flip to that day and know, like, what you have at the end of the week or what you have to do that day. And I was like, all right, I'll try it. And I tried it, and let me tell you, like, the first couple of weeks when I actually kept up with it, it was great. There was no stress. There was no, oh, shit, do I have a project due? Now I got to go online and look. You actually waste more time not planning your schedule out than if you just planned it in the beginning and got it all done. So I think for most people, I'm going to say, like, at least 75% of people, I think they need to be on some kind of somewhat of a set schedule, or just some kind of, like, guideline to follow for the day.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Maybe that's my issue when I realize that I'm running around like a madman. Yeah, I should probably work on one of those planners.
I mean, it is nice, and they're not expensive, and they definitely help so much with college and everything. But so what do you think of Newman so far, buddy? I mean, so if you guys don't know, Matt's actually a communications major. He actually just got into Newman this year. It's his I don't know. Technically, I guess your first year, but you're not a freshman.
I'm technically a junior. I transferred over from Delaware County Community College. I am a junior. It's actually, I mean, it's really awesome. Like Steve was saying, I'm a communications major. My future, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to become a sports broadcaster. Obviously, as you guys can tell, my voice sucks. My mom has told me how my voice sucks. I know, my own mother. But regardless, though, Newman is great. Like, compared to where I was at Delaware County Community College, like, it just seems like, like, when I'm at Newman, especially because they just opened a brand new studio.
Which we're in right now.
Yeah, which we're actually recording live right now. Well, we're not live, but you know what I mean. But beyond the point, though, so they just opened a brand new studio that, gives every communications major an opportunity to, like, try to fulfill their dreams,
Mm-hmm.
which exactly what I'm trying to do right now. It's just crazy because I came to Newman because it was my last opportunity to get a degree.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was my only option. I couldn't get into Westchester. They denied me. I didn't even try Temple because I knew that wasn't going to work out, and that wasn't worth $100 to even try. So I came to Newman, got accepted. I find out about this awesome studio, and I've been here 6 weeks now, and it's awesome. Like, like coming from a community college over to here, it's just like being at a community college. It was just so, like,
It was kind of like high school, wasn't it?
well, not really. It was just because nobody knew each other and nobody was willing to try to get to know one another.
Probably because you're only going to be there for a few years
Yeah,
and people are in and out. Yeah.
Well, it was it was really just okay. I'm here to get my degree. You know, I'm not here to make friends and all that. That's why it was so. I mean, obviously there were people, very very friendly people there, but at the same time they were just all about themselves. But here at Newman, though, especially being a Catholic Franciscan college, it's just, there's so many friendly people, and it's great. Especially all the professors here are willing to help you. It's just great, like how they really pretty much how they work out and how they teach you things.
Well, yeah, and one of the things I wanted to compliment Matt on was like, some people in this life, given a bad set of cards, you could call it, kind of just give up. And then there's other people that are like, you know what, screw this. I got dealt a shitty hand, but I'm going to make the best of this. I'm not going to give up. And you're someone that I definitely look up to for that. There's a lot of people I do. And to me, like, the most successful people aren't the most smartest or the most creative or whatever. It's those people that just don't give up. And I feel like if you have that in life, no matter what you do, you're just not going to give up no matter how many times you fail. You're going to be successful at anything you do. Like, I failed my math class at Drexel because it's really hard, but I'm still going to go in next semester. I have all the notes, all the things I need. I'm going to still go in and try it. Like, college for a lot of people, I feel like the first semester is always the hardest, and everyone's just like, oh my god, I want to give up. So if anybody's out there like listening to this and they're like a freshman in school or about to go into college, or maybe they're just struggling right now, just don't give up. Just power through it. The best thing I found is just to talk to your teacher and just tell them like you're struggling and to help them out, and they'll usually cut you a little bit of slack. It all depends on the teacher and everything, but at least if you go out and make that effort, it might be worth something. The thing is, though, you have to go out and make the effort. That's the big thing. Yeah. It has to fall on you. And I think a lot of people in college aren't used to being an adult and taking kind of, it might have been before, your mom writes a note to the teacher that, Timmy's struggling with his math class, what's going on? I'm blaming you, the teacher, because my son's failing. But now in college, you don't have that. So it's a big adjustment for people. And, I live at home, so I can't even really attest to dorm life and everything. For some people, that's easy. For some people, that's hard. But yeah, college is a big adjustment for a lot of people. I was surprised at the amount of people that not didn't make it through college, but really struggled, and it's weird. I thought all my friends would be going to college by this time, and I was really surprised to see like so many people dropping out or doing different things to their life. Not that that's bad, but it's just surprising, I guess, because you literally think everyone's gonna go.
Yeah, I don't really like, especially because college is not for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and college is not easy. There's, like we were talking about earlier, there's a lot of stress to the college lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Especially people our age, you want to party, or work a full-time job or whatever, because it's hard, especially money situations. Like many people go through, okay, well, we want to move out of our parents' homes,
Mm-hmm.
we want to go live on our own, so they put that pressure on themselves. Oh, I got to get a job. I want to make some money. I want to get out as soon as possible. And then by that time, some people don't even want to go to college anymore. So it's just like, it really, like, I guess, like, because a lot of people normally, like, when they're just about to get out of high school, they kind of look at a set, like, they think they know where they're going, but then when they get out into the real world, it's just all blank.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, think about it. High school is a very sheltered type of life, at least for most people, not for everybody. But you come out of high school, 17, 18, maybe even 19 years old, and you're faced with all these options. Am I going to go straight into the workforce? Am I going to go to college? Am I going to go to a trade school? What am I going to do? And everybody's different. Some people can go right into college, no problem, and then get a job or whatever. For me, you have to find your motivation with college. For me, I was working since I was about 14 or 15. I've worked so many shitty jobs that I'm like, I could not do this for the rest of my life. That's my motivation, to like do well in school is that I don't really want to work a shitty job. Not that there's not anything wrong with the jobs I worked, not to, but just it's not for me, and I know it's not for me. I know I could be doing something different that I actually want to be doing in my life. So it all kind of depends. Like, we have friends that don't have a lot of motivation, and it's not that that's a bad thing. I think a lot of them are honestly just happy working like the jobs they are. Like our boy Chris working at Wawa. I don't know if he's happy there, but like, some people are just a lot more comfortable with just going to work every day, without maybe a degree or whatever, but just going like a regular sort of job every day and just working 40 hours and putting in their time, and that's it. They're done and they're happy,
Yeah, trust me, like you said, it's not a bad thing at all, because the main point in life is not how much money you have, and it's about being successful.
And you have to define successes. What do you think? This is a good question. What do you define as successful?
I define successful as being happy with what you have.
I agree, 100%.
So like, say somebody's living in an apartment, just being able to just go to work every day, come home, live in an apartment, come home, play PlayStation or something.
Xbox, watch TV.
Or Xbox, watch some TV, and go to work every day and just, live that lifestyle, and you're happy with it, drink a couple beers, have a couple females every, typical boys lifestyle.
That's right.
But, man's own.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's happiness right there. That's successful, whether or not, it's not the best apartment. If you're happy with that apartment and happy with the way you live your life, that's success.
Yeah.
Obviously, like some people like me and yourself, we're pushing ourselves to kind of get to the next limit. Mm-hmm. But regardless, if I'm able to pay my bills, and I'm doing what I want to do and becoming a sports broadcaster or on the radio talking sports, I just want to talk sports. If I'm doing something I want to do, I can come home every day, kiss my children, kiss my wife, and enjoy a 6-pack of Corona if I ever have a wife. But that 6-pack of Corona will definitely be there,
no matter what.
But that will never leave my side. Neither will my 2000 Honda Accord.
It's a million miles on it.
That's a happy life for me. That's successful. Honestly, right now, I'm living success.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy with what I do. It's, going to college, working, kind of, sort of.
On and off, yeah.
AKA Drake. But, I'm living success right now. But, there's definitely much more, to success.
Society defines success as, always having more than somebody or always trying to, chase up. But I found, even, like, with myself, and, people point this out, as if you just keep chasing the next big thing, you're never going to be happy. You're just going to keep looking to the future. And you have to be careful with that, because some people their whole life, they're millionaires, maybe even billionaires, and never happy because they're just chasing something that isn't there. So you have to really, like, find yourself and be like, all right, well, what truly makes me happy? Is it a wife and kids? Is it traveling? Is it doing a podcast like this? Is it working on cars? What is it that really defines you? Because, you can't just be defined as someone that makes a lot of money and, that's all you're good at. You want to be good at other things. You want to have hobbies and like, dreams that don't have to do necessarily with money, just things you want to do. So I always tell people, just write down kind of things that motivate you in your life, that make you want to be successful and happy and everything.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And it's another thing what you were saying about chasing. Mm-hmm. There's something I've seen with a lot of people, they want to chase big. Like they're looking at different people. Like, see, when I was little, I tried chasing the dream of becoming a pro baseball player. Obviously, I was never really that good at baseball. My shoulder gave out when I was a sophomore in high school. But, that's what I wanted to do when I was younger. Mm-hmm. But, I kept it very similar. Obviously I wanted to become a sports broadcaster. So I kept it in the sports field. I went from wanting to become a pro baseball player, I guess because that's what everybody wants to do. They want to chase, like I wanted to be just like Sammy Sosa. So a lot of people try chase, like, they look up to people, and that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Like, if they're obsessed with Will Ferrell or something.
Yeah, they want to be an actor.
Yeah,
or a comedian.
Because it's awesome. But honestly, what you have to do what you want to do. You cannot look at anybody else. You have to be that person to know for yourself. I mean, it's kind of.
I agree. Like the big dream thing is, they always say, aim for the moon or whatever, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. I agree. You should have big dreams. I think you were kind of saying the opposite, though. But I think you should have big dreams and aspire for them. But, maybe sometimes, most of the time, honestly, you realize you're in a place where you never thought you'd be. Like, I'm in a co-op right now, which is a paid internship at a place I never thought I'd be, in high school. It's kind of funny how life is. So I always say, just take it, enjoy the moment. It's not really about getting from point A to point B. It's really about the journey. That's kind of what life is, to me anyway, and just having fun with it and everything. So, just enjoy where you're at and be thankful for it.
Well, yeah, no, and I wasn't saying don't shoot for big dreams.
Uh-huh.
No, obviously shoot for big dreams because that's the whole fun of life.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is do not do it because you saw, because
there's a lot of people that do that.
Do it for yourself, because that's what you want to do.
Well, look at all the sports figures. I mean, there's a lot of great sports figures that try to do so well in sports to prove a point to somebody. Most of the time it's their dad. I think Jerry West was one where Jerry West just wanted to prove to his dad that, he was like the best basketball player. He's not even the only one. I mean, LeBron James didn't have a dad. There's a lot of people that come from like single families that just like have all this rage and everything built up with them. And it just comes out in their sport. They're super competitive. They don't like to lose. Look at Mike Tyson. I mean, he literally just was on the street beating people up, and they took him in, and he learned everything about boxing. He was one of the best boxers ever, if not, well, I don't know about the best, but he's definitely top 5 up there. And that was fueled from just rage of just, not having a family around him. And, everybody comes from different environments, and, it always looks cool to be the champion, but, you don't really know how lonely that person is. Or how, empty that person might feel, even though if they're winning on every level. It seems like they have the best life ever. You don't know if they're truly happy or not. So you have to be careful about that.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of off topic. Well, not off topic. I'm
Well, you've been sick, right?
Yeah.
What do you think you have?
I don't know. Stomach bug.
I mean, I have I have a messed up ankle, and you're sick. And
bronchitis, lung cancer.
Yeah.
One or the other, but anyway. So, what are we discussing next? We have about another 10 minutes.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, the Cubs are in the World Series. It's pretty cool they broke the Billy Goat. I know we weren't going to talk sports a whole lot, but I do want to bring that up, that the Cubs did break the Billy Goat curse. Now, I didn't know about the curse until that long ago, but for those of you that don't know, this guy wanted to bring his goat into the 1945 World Series at Wrigley Field in Chicago. He wanted to bring his goat in. The guy said, the people said, no, you're not bringing a goat into Wrigley Field, you crazy shit. Get the hell out of here. And the guy said, the Cubs, they ain't going to win no more. They're never going to be in another World Series. Cubs in 1945 lost in Game 7 and then never made it to the World Series again until this year. So they did break the curse. So for a lot of people that think the curse is just not winning the World Series, it's actually not. It's just for getting into the World Series, which is kind of like what we were talking about earlier. I didn't know that. So I thought that was kind of cool to know for anybody that's interested in that type of thing. I don't really think those curses are really, that true, but I mean, it held up this long for 70-something years.
Yeah, well, anyway, regardless, the Cubs are now down 2-1 in the series.
Kind of sad.
Game 4 is actually tonight. But, I'm hoping the Cubs win. I think they deserve it. The Cleveland Indians, come on, Cleveland. You guys already won something this year, really.
Yeah, I know. They're looking to make up the past 60-odd years in sports history in like a year or two with all their sports teams, besides the Browns.
I was going to say, and make up for their football team.
Yeah, oh my god, that train wreck. Yeah, let's talk about the 2 best teams in baseball, the 2 worst, or the 2 cities that are in the World Series have the 2 worst football teams in the NFL.
Yeah, it's brutal.
I don't know if I guess maybe I could trade the Eagles being horrible if the Phillies were good again. See something. I'd rather trade the Phillies being bad for the Eagles being good.
I'd rather see both my football and baseball team good, but it seems
in a perfect world.
It seems like it doesn't go that way, though. I guess it does all make sense because, like I've said before, when the Giants were good, all my the rest of them blew.
And you like all these not random teams, but if you tell people that you're a Devils fan, an Astros fan, a Golden State Warriors fan, and a who else? Giants fan?
Giants.
Giants fan. People are going to be like, what the hell? Where did you get it? And you have to kind of explain yourself. But
yeah, we don't have that much time left for me to explain myself, but I'll use that for the next segment.
Of why Matt's just a random ass sports fan.
Yeah, trust me, I have my explanations, but
I think it's so. That's baseball. Covering that. Is enough. We'll move on to a different subject. What about the NBA? Obviously it's a crazy season with all these salary caps, trades, everything. I mean, the NBA looks completely different this year than it did last year. I don't think you could have guessed how different the NBA would look this year than it was going to look last year.
Yeah, it's definitely been crazy as you've seen the Golden State Warriors, who won 73 games a year ago. They end up going out and getting
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant, another superstar in the league. And now this team, you're expecting big things out of them. You know, you see D-Wade in Chicago, which really surprised me. That was probably the biggest surprise I've seen.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming.
You know, and you just had a bunch of different players moving. A lot of big contracts this year, which it's basketball. I wasn't expecting that big of contracts, but a lot of different, I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm sorry.
A lot of different what?
Scenery.
Oh, but, players moving around.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
we'll edit that out.
No, we won't.
Wrong.
But so we're Warriors, who won 73 games a year ago. Obviously, my favorite team. A lot of people are expecting. People are talking. Oh, this team's going to be better than last season.
Mm-hmm.
Me, even as a fan, I could have told you that's not true. It's nowhere near true. I was expecting the opening night loss. Charles, I could have called that. Losing by 30, though, I was not expecting that whatsoever. I don't know who showed up to play. I don't know. Like, it seemed good, and then all of a sudden, it just seemed like, guys for the Spurs, like Leonard and Aldridge, just would not miss.
Well, that team is just so good with the fundamentals. It's not even fair, like, how good they are with the fundamentals. Like, that's how they win all their championships, the Spurs.
Yeah, but anyway, like I was saying, though, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing that we saw with the Miami Heat 4 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Or, well, when they first joined together, I think it was 2010. But, they lost their opening game. I mean, not as bad as what the Warriors lost, but you're going to see that. And also, the Warriors, who won last night, and the big question this year is their defense.
Uh-huh.
And, they won last night. I think they scored 120 points. But they gave up 114. And it's just, it's going to be interesting to see this year, how that team pans out. I mean, I still think that team's a 60-game winner. I still think they win the West again. But, I mean, there's just so many questions with that team and how it plays out.
Yeah, so we don't want to talk too much sports this time. We just want to give you guys a little recap for an hour. This was our second podcast, so trying to mix it up with the topics. I know we might be a little rusty, but stay tuned. If anybody in the Philadelphia area would like to be a guest on the podcast, just contact us or leave a comment below. Maybe we can have you on, call in. We're trying to work on that. But, yeah, anything you want to add, buddy?
No, just the fact that I apologize again for my voice. I am very sick, and I can't breathe.
All right, guys. So for Steve and Matt, this is us signing out.
All right, take care, everybody.
And tune in next week.